Hello everyone, welcome back to This Book Belongs to Pam, and today is the first day of Summerween, and I think the best way to kick things off is to cozy up and plan a week of reading with me. Summerween is a readathon hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads. It's super fun, very cute. I love all of the themes that they do. I have participated before. I'll leave a link in the description for past reading vlogs where I read Summerween stuff. Today, I want to sit down with you and pick out the books that I plan to read for the next week. Because Summerween is July 3rd to July 10th, if I'm not mistaken. I have with me a two stacks of books. This bigger stack are my horror books, and then the smaller stack are my thriller books. So in Summerween, I try, although you don't really have to, you just have to fulfill these prompts. And then there's a prompt about like read a horror or thriller book, but everything else is pretty much, it doesn't have to be a horror or a thriller book, but I just want to keep it within the genre just because I do need to read more of my horror and thriller books, as you can see. So what I'm gonna do is just pick out a bunch of books per prompt and then sort of talk you through my excitement levels for each book and what I plan to read for this readathon. I'm gonna do this in reverse order and start with the fifth prompt just because it's a lot more restrictive, if you will. The first two prompts are very open and can work with any of these books. So the prompt is to read a book with less than 250 pages. So let me just rummage around here and find the books that are less than 250 pages. So this is one. This one. Oh, it is less than. Okay, is there anything else that could potentially be less than 250? I have 3 books that could work. So I have Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. I bought this so long ago, just when I was starting to build my horror collection for my bookshelf. I wanted to pick a bunch of horror books so that I have like a stack of horror books that I can pick from whenever I fancy reading horror. So this one is about like a man going back to his childhood, like home, and figuring out some mysterious stuff. And it says here at the back that each chapter completes a different puzzle for both you and the narrator. So I kind of like that. This is 238 pages, so definitely under 250. Looks creepy. And then I have Walking Practice by Dol Kim-min. I have heard good things about this, good and weird things about this book, because apparently this is just a very odd book and quite difficult to stomach. There are 166 pages in this book. We're following a shape-shifting alien stranded on Earth, and they need to practice walking because they need to sort of blend in. Ooh, so I guess it's kind of mimicking what humans do, and maybe it becomes a little bit more grotesque, like a grotesque interpretation of what we humans do. So sounds very interesting. It's also very short, so that works perfectly well for a readathon. And then I have this one. This is Ang Kapangyarihang Higit sa Ating Lahat, or The Power Above Us All by Ronaldo Vivo Jr. So this is technically the first book in the Dreamland trilogy, but the recommended reading order is to read the second book first, which I already did. I love the second book. I gave that 5 stars. So this is the first book, and this one has 174 pages, so also really short, but I'm also keeping this in mind for another prompt, so I'm not going to be picking this one. So I have to choose between Pen Pal and Walking Practice, and I want to pick Pen Pal just because it's been on my TBR longer and I want to, read the books that I've been buying. But Walking Practice just sounds so good. Maybe I'll read first chapters of this too for my reading vlog, and then I'll figure out which one. But I'm leaning towards Walking Practice, to be honest. But yeah, so these are for the 5th prompt. The next prompt is to read a book with pink on the cover, and that is why I was saving this one, because I don't have a lot of books with pink on the cover. So let me grab some other things here. I have 4 books from this stack. So the first one I already told you about, Ang Kapangyarihang Higit sa Ating Lahat. And then I have Murder Road by Simone St. James. This is from Evernight, which is Illuminate's like horror subscription. And this is a little bit of a stretch. There is pink at the back here, at the very back here. It's a lot more pink than the surrounding colors, which is a little bit more like leaning purplish red. So I'm not sure about this one, but I have had this for so long because this, I believe, is my first Evernight book. I have been putting it off because I have not heard good things about this book, but maybe I should just, rip the band-aid off and just read it so I can just pass it along to someone else who might enjoy it more than me. So I don't know. And then I have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. The pink is the drip of paint, blood, whatever that is. I really want to read this, but I feel like this is not the kind of book that you read in a readathon just because it's a slower, more historical type of thriller. It's not really, actually, I don't think it's a thriller, it's a horror. And it involves like a teenager vanishing. It's set in the 70s. It's set at a camp. I think, oh my God. I am tempted. I am tempted just because I have been curious about this book. I've heard good things about this and also bad things, but then the people who didn't like this book also don't like slow historical fiction books, and I love those. So I think I'm gonna enjoy this. So we'll see. And then the last one is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This is a newer one in my TBR, so it has pink on the stripes. The border is pink as well. I'm curious about this mostly because I really love the cover, like so stunning. But I don't know what this is about. Something about like horror movies or something? I have no idea. Everyone says that this gave them the vibe of like old school horror films. And I mean, it looks like it. Look at the back. It's so pretty. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm in between these two books just because I really want to get this off my TBR. And this one is a book that I've been wanting to read ever since I read the second book in the trilogy. I know that sounds so weird, but I'm debating between the two. I will put them both on my TBR and then I'll just decide whenever I get to actually reading. The third prompt is to read a new to me author, someone I've never read from before. There's gonna be a lot in this stack. So let's see. Probably even most of them. Well, not Grady Hendrix. I've read from Grady Hendrix before. Oh, I've read from Samantha Downing before. I haven't. Ooh, okay. Oh my God. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of options. I'm not gonna put them all on my lap. Hold on. So I have episode 13 by Craig DeLuey, The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward, Night Watching by Tracy Shera. I also have We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Terrado, and then A History of Fear by Luc Dumas. We Call Them Witches by India Rose Bauer. Japanese Gothic by Kylie Baker. What Boys Learn by Andromeda Romana Lux. This is an arc, but I believe this is already out. More Than You'll Ever Know by Katie Gutierrez. The Swallows by Lisa Lutz. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Definitely very excited about Japanese Gothic, so I'm gonna add this to my temporary list here. I also want Natural Beauty by Ling Wang as well, and The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Kaw. This one is also intriguing because it is so short. The illustrations inside are so crazy good that I am just curious. I just want to read, like, look at this. Amazing, so stunning. So maybe I am gonna choose in between Japanese Gothic and The Library at Hellbore, which honestly, I'm probably gonna read Japanese Gothic, but we'll see. I'll set this two aside for potentials. The second to the last prompt is read a thriller or a horror book, which all of these are thriller or horror. So actually, I'm just gonna look at the remaining books first and see if there's anything here that I wanna add to my TBR, because obviously, I've got a lot of options already from the stuff that we just picked now. Like if I didn't pick one of them for the other prompt, I could do the other one for this general prompt. But is there anything here that I want to read? No. I think what I'll do with this prompt is I'll just, whatever I don't pick for the other prompts is gonna be my options for this final general prompt, which is good. I don't want to keep adding stuff to my TBR. And then the last one is to read a book in the dark or at night. So I am going to go to my Libro FM. For that, I'm going to go pure audiobook. I do have a lot of thriller audiobooks or horror audiobooks here. The one I'm most intrigued about just from this list is Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay. I haven't read from Paul Tremblay before. And this is also the Literally Dead book club pick. So that's a bonus. I Know a Place by Nat Cassidy. Murder at 30,000 Feet by Susan Walter. I actually have a lot. You Should Have Been Nicer to Mom by Vincent Tirado. Some of these I'm not 100% sure if they're actually horror or thriller, but I have a lot of options, so I'm just gonna pick from my Libro FM. But the ones that I mentioned are the ones that I might be picking. So this is my options for Summerween this year. I think I've got a really good stack over here, and I'm so excited to read any of these, which is a good indicator. Hopefully, by the end of this readathon, I will have read at least 4 of this and then 1 from my Libro FM catalog. I hope you don't mind that casual planning vlog. I really like doing this because I want to, workshop with you my thoughts on this book so that I can pick stuff for this readathon. I will be doing a couple of vlogs for Summerween. I'm targeting like 3 vlogs, but we'll see. I'll try to be as thorough with the books that I'm reading and really share with you what I liked about them or what I don't like about them. I will see you in a couple of days' time for the first Summerween vlog. But this is my reading list in the meantime. Gabby's announcement video for Summerween is going to be linked in the description box. Please join Summerween, subscribe to Gabby. I mean, I'm sure you already are. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!